Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tip Tuesday. Glad to be with you guys. Sorry for being a little bit late here, but definitely have a good tip for you today. We're starting a series here on very practical options here as far as what do you need to get started. So, assuming that you have been to some course, hopefully maybe a tradeway course, then what's the next step? Because obviously, one of the things that we've done there is that we have piqued your interest. So now that you're ready for that next step, what is the next step? Well, the next step really is to find some sort of charting software. So, one of the things that we have discussed here at our live events is the ability to see a chart, to understand a chart, and then to realize what most people simply do not realize is that the market itself and individual stocks tend to follow certain patterns. So just like we follow a traffic signal, green, yellow, red, there are stocks that make certain patterns. And if that pattern repeats itself over time, then of course, then we can make trades based upon that anticipated movement. Does that mean it happens every time? No, but there is an expectation that once the light turns yellow, the next thing that's going to do is turn red. And we have that same kind of idea here with the stock market. Tradeway, we're primarily watching the S&P 500, 500 of the strongest stocks here in the U.S. And then we're using that as a general idea of what the overall market is going to do. And then, of course, individual stocks treat that overall market a lot like they would a wave out in the ocean. So if we were out in the ocean, most things are going to go with the current. So generally speaking, if the market is going up, then your individual stock is more likely to go up. If the overall market is going down, lots of people are selling, then it's likely that your individual stock is going to go down as well. So in general, that's one thing that we're looking for. So in order to be able to see that, to make our trading decisions, we would have to obviously have access to that. Now, there are quite a few charting software options out there. Tradeway recently released something called Charts by Tradeway. So obviously, we're going to take a look at that today. We're going to encourage you guys to also look into that for the opportunity to meet your charting needs. So we'll show you a little bit about what that looks like. Of course, you have Telechart, which is an award-winning software. They've won awards for years. It's something I've used for really over a decade now. So very familiar with it and what it offers as well. And then, of course, there are certain brokers like TD Ameritrade, the Thinkorswim, where they include their own charting software as part of that program. So what you would need to do as an individual is kind of decide, okay, so I know I need a charting software because I want to understand, what is the overall market doing? What is my individual stock doing? Obviously, there are certain patterns we talk about: a rolling, an uptrend, a downtrend. And then we have some, like the M's, the W's, the head and shoulders, the kiss goodbye, some of our more advanced patterns, cup and handles, and whatnot that we'll go through and teach you at step one, step two, depending on where you're going with us. We're going to teach these different patterns and help you understand how you can trade those patterns and what the expectation is. So that today's tip isn't so much about showing you all of that stuff, because we do cover that, I think, in good detail at our live events. Today we just really want to take a look at what some of the charting softwares look like, and you can get a sense of kind of the similarities, the differences, and then obviously from a pricing perspective, that's something that someone would consider as well. So as you are deciding, okay, so I know I need a charting software, I know that I have the ability to recognize patterns, where can I go to find the charting software that's right for me? So we're gonna take a look at some of those today, and then let you guys kind of decide. Now, one of the things to keep in mind as we go through the charting software, obviously 3:30-ish on Tuesday afternoon here Central Time, the market is closed. The market closed about 45 minutes ago now. And so we're not going to be seeing anything live. There's after hours trading and stuff. Some software has the ability to track that. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at some of these, give you a sense of what you're looking for. And then obviously when it comes to actually just, kind of knowing which one you would want to go with, that would be something that you would have to decide, and there's, like I said, there's a lot of great options out there. It's just a matter of, which one do you like? Which one do you think presents the best opportunity for you? And then which one I think a couple of things to consider is how user friendly is it? And then also, what is it able to do? So what can I do with this chart? So obviously, this is a look at the charts by Tradeway. It's very highly customizable. So there are things that you can do. Obviously, we're looking at TRU here. It's basically a rolling stock. So for those of you that are familiar with that type of setup, basically this is a support area and that is a resistance area. Now it takes about 2 or 3 weeks for it to complete this pattern, but yeah, it really does go from about 108 up to about 120, and I suspect that we would see this moving up today. When this is how we looked at it last night. So um, with the market recovering today and moving up, we talked on our webinars last night how we thought, it might end somewhere between 4,700 and 4,715. And I had to step out for a bit, but I think we got right in that range today. So obviously, based on what we were seeing with the S&P, we were able to then go in there and look at individual stocks and try to find stocks that would move with this. Obviously, finding a stock like TRU that was rolling, that was near support, presents a potential great buying opportunity. So you can see here, I've got my exponential moving averages. You can determine which moving averages you want. One of the things that you might like about this is that as you scroll through, it automatically kind of populates this crosshair here. And that allows you to see up here, what you're just looking for is the open, high, low, and close. If you see the terminology OHLC and you're wondering what in the world is OHLC, it's open, the opening price, the high for the day, the low for the day, and then the close for the day. Of course, these candlesticks will come into play there. And basically it just tells us, on this particular day, yesterday, this stock opened at 110.11, had a high of 110.40, so it didn't move up too much. Dropped down as low as 107.59, so it really dropped. We'll just call it $4 basically, and then closed about 109. We'll call it 50. So it ended up closing about 60 cents lower than where it opened on that particular day, but from where it closed the previous day, you'll notice it closed at 111.36, and then closing yesterday at 109.38. It's down about $2. We can see over here it's down $1.98. So there's a lot of things that would go into this particular thing. Like I said, you can customize this. You can add EMAs. There's a lot of stuff you can do with the EMAs. If you go over here, to your settings, you can do an up fill color or a down fill color. You can change these, make these whatever you want. Some folks are, if you've been doing this for a while, you're probably a little bit of accustomed to the green being an up day. Kind of, we think of it as a balloon that has air in it, so it's going up. And then red is like a kind of a balloon full of lead, so it's dropping. And so a lot of our students kind of have that understanding of what that looks like. So obviously something to consider there. You get a sense of what this looks like with my current settings. Now you can change a number of things here. You can obviously we can scroll down. We'll get our volume bars. We get a time period. It's very easy to switch back and forth here. We're just going to look, at a day. That's 3 months with each candlestick being daily. So there's a number of things going on with that. All right, so a lot of stuff that we can do with the charts by Tradeway. We'll actually come back and talk a lot about that in the upcoming days. So This is TC 2000 version 20. A lot of our students are using this one, familiar with this. It's actually showing me some after hours stuff. I can turn that off. It's not a big deal to me, so I'll leave it on. But you can see here the S&P closed 47.13. All right, so right in that range where we thought 4,700 to 4,715. Um, the high was just below at 47.14. So pretty good job last night. Had me nervous this morning because it was down, and it ended up hitting this line right here, using that as support, and then moving up to these EMAs on top, which is the key thing to watch now, because now we're trying to see, is it going to drop from here tomorrow? So Wednesday is going to be kind of a critical day. So today did what we expected, except for moving down this morning. That was kind of strange. Moving up, and so going from there. So here's what your S&P looks like here. Obviously, I've got a lot of extra lines here. Let me go to something a little bit simpler here. In fact, let's go to that TRU so you can kind of compare. Now, obviously, I have the ability with this software to bring in a bunch of different charts all at the same time. In fact, if we were to go to a new tab, you can see that I've got all kinds of layouts available to me, and I can put all kinds of stuff into these layouts. So it can get fairly complex. Obviously, as a newer student, you don't really want complex, you want simple. The version 7, I mentioned TRU would probably be up today, and it was up to almost 2%, almost $2. So great. I mean, that's what we anticipated. That's what we had talked about last night. So it's always cool to see that. Again, when you have a pattern, it doesn't really help much to have a pattern if you don't see stocks doing what you anticipated. So it's always, really cool to see something that you've looked at and then see it kind of follow through. And now you're able to, of course, make your trading decisions. And this is the kind of stuff we would teach our students more about, obviously at step 1, but then just adding to that at step 2, and then building on it again at step 3, and then again at step 4. A more basic version of Telechart is right here, and this is just the version 7. It's a great place to start. So if you're going to go outside of Charts by Tradeway, this is a great opportunity here for you just to kind of say, all right, what does this look like? Let's jump to TRU here. And again, we're going to see some similarities. I haven't updated this. The other one is a live version. This one is not. It's technically 15 minutes delayed, but that's only if you update it. So it's really, like I said, it's a simplified version. You can see it does look a lot. I have it look very similar to my Charts by Tradeway. So it looks very similar. So again, that's pretty cool if you're a beginner to be able to look at this and see the similarities here. Between those, you still got your EMA. You can see that this stock is rolling. Of course, you can change up a lot here with your time frames, which is really cool to be able to do. So a lot of stuff you can do here, but again, talking about keeping it simple, just getting it started. The first step for you guys, obviously, just find you a good charting software. Obviously, you're going to need to be able to input the indicators that you need. So, obviously it helps if you're connected to a company like Tradeway, where we can kind of say, well, here's what you're going to want to have. Obviously, these EMAs and how do you set those up? Easy enough. Most of your charting softwares are going to have some tutorials more than others. So certainly it does help if you have some idea already going into it of what you want to have and what you want your chart to look like, so that you have a good idea of how you can use it. 1, I would say easier, and then 2, quicker, because those are both things that we want to do. So we're getting started. We're excited about it. So I know I need a charting software. I need to understand pattern movement. I need to understand how that works. But now, once I get the charting software, I need to be able to set it up. I need to know that it's reliable, and I need to know how to use it. So those are all things that you would want to do. Obviously, with Tradeway, we would be willing to help you with that as much as we can. And then, of course, these are owned, like Telechart is owned by Worden Brothers. So obviously, you could contact them for help. Charts by Tradeway, obviously you would contact us, and we would be able to help you with that. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys today. Again, we're not doing a deep dive on all this stuff today. Just wanted to introduce you to something that you need. We want to make sure that everybody understands that is a critical first step. Getting started, going to need the charting software. You got the education. So now the next step is the charting software. And next week, we're going to talk about a really important next step in the process. And that is opening up a broker. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to open up a brokerage. what some of that terminology means, because that can be confusing. I remember as a newer student looking at some of that stuff going, I have no clue. I don't know what kind of account am I supposed to open? What's the difference between this account and that account? I don't know. So we're going to go over some of that stuff next week. And I think that will be helpful, particularly if you are a newer student, and especially if you were really ready to take that next step and get started. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today, and we will see you next time.